Hey guys, I gotta review another dandy-like. Oh yeah. Kill yourself. Yeah. You guys hate me. Sigh. Okay, but actually,
Dolly's factory surprised me because there are like good mechanics and more than 3. What? I'm actually baffled that a dandy-like, the genre known for not caring about gameplay, tried and basically succeeded in making a pretty alright game. It has actual depth. Am I fucking dreaming? What the fuck? Anyways, I have a lot to talk about. A majority being actually good. If you're a dev watching this, please don't take any criticism I say as a personal attack. You made a thing that I actually enjoyed, so like, be proud of that. I have really high standards. Let's start with the bad. Dolly's factory has a lot of things that just lack polish. This isn't really that big of an issue, but it can ruin the experience sometimes. The enemy pathfinding is the biggest example of this. Enemies just kind of bumble about sometimes and lose track of you. This is clearly a bug and the devs are addressing it, but it probably should have been a bigger priority in the first place. The UI reeks of game that's about to scam you, mostly in the lobby. There's just way too much stuff and it just looks really cluttered. Everything, and I mean everything in this game, is very pastel and uses a bunch of different colors. This makes everything from the UI to characters to maps blindingly difficult to look at or even differentiate from the layout. There are times where darker maps are less difficult to navigate compared to the blinding pastel colors that is this game's art style. This game needs to choose a few colors to stick with so things can be separated clearly. On a related note, there are some things in the game that were so stupid they fucking killed me. The little dance Dexter does in the train, the overly dramatic boss intros, a 2011 DeviantArt anime render of Dolly on every machine, and fucking grease fire. I'm sorry, I just can't take some of this seriously. Dolly's factory has a huge difficulty problem. The difficulty isn't a straight line or a curve. It looks more like a spike pit in Celeste Chapter 5. It's extremely easy most of the time, but a lot of moments in Dolly's factory could feel really cheap, either due to clumsy navigation or some of the more poorly telegraphed enemies, that being Doug and Felicia. The train mini-boss is quite fun on its own, but Doug's gimmick of chasing you until you drop the chain pieces is barely explained in the actual floor itself. When you're playing solo, this bastard will make you spend almost all of your stamina since you can't drop any of your pieces until you reach the very end of the train. Felicia has the Veronica problem. You literally can't counter them at all. They get faster the more time you spend on the floor, to the point they literally can't be outrun. This means if your team sucks, you're just dead. I would personally give them a weakness of having awful turn speed, alongside making them have a short charge up and a sound cue before bum rushing you. They also need a better indication of them getting buffed so that they actually feel threatening. Maybe a global sound effect. Ruin from Flop World does the snowball enemy concept much better, having a clear indication of them powering up so you can actually react to them. The health system in this game just leads to a lot of enemies feeling like complete pushovers. Why do some of them only deal 10 damage? It makes a lot of enemies a complete non-issue and removes any sense of danger from being chased. It also makes it so the impact of a hit feels like nothing most of the time. I made a whole video about one of my previous games that had this exact same issue, so I'm just gonna play the clip here where I suggested a fix. That's right! Dandy's World actually did one good thing with its gameplay out of a thousand bad things, and that's the health system. Each hit actually feels impactful due to there not being any in-between states and you not really having that much max HP at all. This is something that a lot of dandy-likes don't understand. To be fair, this is a thing in a lot of roguelikes. The Binding of Isaac has basically the same system, but with more depth and a higher cap. Due to also being a bullet hell, I would probably take more from Isaac's systems, honestly. It's just, Isaac is a better game. Okay, I'm back. Trinket leveling is fucking stupid. Why is this here? It just artificially extends the amount of time until you can actually fully use the trinket. A lot of trinkets at max are just plain overpowered as well and give a major disadvantage to players just starting out. I would personally just trash trinket leveling. It's just progression for progression's sake. There are also a few trinket combos that are just plain dumb. Rocky plus Hera plus more plus junk kit literally gives you 400 money on floor 2. I haven't figured out any other broken ones, but with how the trinkets work, there are probably more. Dolly's factory has a really bad update cycle. New content every week just leads to half-baked ideas and bloat. You don't need to feed your fans this much. They aren't starving. Seriously, the devs should just take a few months off of making new content and instead just fix some of the problems that are already in the game. So before we talk about the good, it's time for character ranking. Ding 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 ding. For reference, let me describe each tier and what Dandy-like character I'd equate them to. S tier Dandy-like characters don't exist. They can't hurt me. Yet. A tier Dandy-like characters have a pretty well-defined playstyle, and I can actually wholeheartedly call them good, functional, and has depth. Cosmo is the best example of this. B tier Dandy-like characters are usually good in concept, but fumble a little somehow. I'd put Astro here. C tier characters are just meh. I don't really see the vision. I'd put V here. D tier characters are actively bad, but possibly redeemable. I'd put Pebble here. F tier characters are like, why? How did this get far enough into development to be playable? I'd put Selena here. They suck ass. Keep in mind, for this ranking, I haven't played every single character, so my opinion may change. Cinnabon, C tier. They're functional and they have a use case, but they don't really have any depth. Buddy, B tier. The switch from a passive to an active did a lot to improve the depth and utility for Buddy's ability compared to Eggson. Deciding which machine needs extra progress first can alleviate a lot of danger and time spent on the floor, especially if you're in risky spots. Combined with a rare like Magic Clock, this ability can just let you complete one machine for free. Doug, C tier. Same issue as Cinnabon, except I'd put them a bit higher since their ability could probably lead to some fun interactions. Felicia, D tier. They're heavily stat-based, which I don't like because if you know me, you know I don't really like stats being the main aspect of a character. They'd probably be more interesting if you could spend the stuffing you get to use an ability instead of it affecting stats. Felicia is also just not healthy for the game. A character that scales this high and is just better than everyone else just invalidates every other character. Why would you play a character like Buddy when you could just play Felicia, who could complete machines in like 25 seconds? Highfly, B tier. They're an okay generalist support. The issue with general supports, however, is that they aren't really exciting to play. Supports need some sort of hype moment with their ability to stay engaging, like healing someone on their last heart or pushing them away from getting hit. Highfly just doesn't have this, since they're just about keeping everything stable instead of directly helping people in any major way. Jellybell, C tier. Their abilities just don't flow together at all. I'd personally just stick to either stunning or healing and commit to that, as their current kit encourages them to be both next to enemies and next to players at the same time. A neat rework for them would be make it so they have some sort of roundup ability to easily get a bunch of enemies on them to stun them all at once. Jinx, C tier. Jinx has a problem that a lot of other characters have, where their ability description is just vague as fuck. I looked it up, and apparently the spot it teleports them to is map specific. Otherwise, this character has a similar issue to Jellybell with their traps. You're both encouraged to have them near players and in enemy paths, which just doesn't flow well. Coda, B tier. I think you're able to have enemies get stunned by making them hit you, which I think is interesting. This is a pretty decent adaptation of a tank and a delver-like. Maestro, D tier. A real brain-dead kit. Their kit involves both supporting others and extracting. They have a similar issue to Gordy, where they're just min-maxed to do everything better. What reason do you have to not use your ability at any point in time? Queenie, C tier. Queenie is incredibly specific with the purpose of their kit. The best case scenario for your ability is your team walking perfectly alongside each other towards you with all the enemies chasing them down, and then you group all of them, regenerating your teammates' stamina and slowing down enemies for them to escape. Just a very unexciting and niche rescue ability. And then we have Rocky, who's actually an A tier. Damn. The crafting mechanic is pretty cool and has some unique applications. The resource management aspect is also really interesting and adds some strategic decision making to your ability usage. They could have more depth though, which is why they're only A tier. Spinette. Oh, Spinette. Spinette is the first A tier character in a dandy-like that I've played since Cosmo.
This was written before the Rocky segment, so yeah, that's why I called them the first. Also, they're the only other character I played besides Buddy. So just go with it.
They have actual depth and strategies and cool tech, risk and reward. The whole shebang! My only gripe is that grappling onto players shields them. It just adds a little too much utility since they're basically a healer, sentinel, and survivalist at the same time. If this was removed and maybe an extra passive was added, it'd just be a genuine S tier kit. Amazing job. Gold stars for all the devs. Sim. C tier. Surprisingly, actually. Usually healers are some of the better characters. The issue with him is his lack of resource management. He could just spam heals every time his cooldown hits 0. The game is already easy, and this just makes any danger feel like a joke. I would personally just make it so that he could heal using stuffing. Yes, I know this just makes him Sprout, but Sprout was good for a reason. Triton. C tier. Interesting having a chain attacking sentinel. It's kind of hard to balance this kind of chain attack, however, since the positioning of enemies is inconsistent. You're encouraged to stun enemies where they aren't even going to be an issue for players. You're also wasting stamina while doing this, so you're just gonna get hit once the enemies are done being stunned. Zoro. B tier. Interesting side grade to Buddy. I don't really have much else to say. They just seem pretty interesting. Okay, that shit kind of sucked. Time for the shit that didn't suck and made me go, ah! The bosses in this game are surprisingly well designed for Delver-like standard. None of them are as piss easy and uninspired as Anchored's bosses, and none of them are as badly designed and tedious as Dial. Coda is the weakest boss fight design-wise. It's a pretty basic fight with a pretty okay gimmick. Most of the reason they suck is because of the map design. They don't really commit to the wall destruction and stuff. I'd give it a C+ since it's significantly better than any other dandy-like fight. Jelly Bell is actually really cool with a more Midas Elevation style task and some pretty cool attacks that always keep you on your toes. Unlike Coda, they play with their map really well. A lot of places to de-aggro, but not easy enough to navigate that the pressure is lost. I'd give it a solid B+. And Maestro. Oh, Maestro. Maestro is one of the best bosses I fought in a Delver-like. They have cool attacks, they're readable, and they have the ability to fucking aura farm. A-. I remove points because they look like a Michael Kovac typecast. Speaking of enemies, Reject Highfly is just a better version of Glisten in every way. Or just playtime from Baldi. You can hide from her just like any other enemy, and when she catches you, she has an attention radius big enough for you to micromanage chases in while still listening to her song. If you fail her check, you have the opportunity to run away, but you have to deal with her like super fast high damage form. For a single enemy, they have a ton of avenues for you to navigate around them while still remaining a decent threat if you're not paying attention. Genuinely the perfect supporting enemy for a Delver-like at all. What the fuck? Alright, it's time to talk about the elephant in the room. The speed stat. For comparison, here's the speed stat from Danny's World. Notice how the run speed of 1 star is the same as 5 stars walk speed. Dolly's factory goes from 10 to 16 in walk speed, which in comparison is a lot more fair to low speed characters since the median is much closer. Because the speed is balanced, a few things are fixed from Danny's World. There's no distracting, machines are balanced so you can actually do them without getting constantly jumped, every character is viable and not heavily stat spaced. Take notes, Quelver, what the fuck? Why is this an issue for you? There is a small gripe I have of speed, and that's more to do with the map design than anything else. The platforms are way too thin with how fast you go. They just need to design the maps more around the speed. Now for a lightning round of every other mechanic I think is well designed. Do more shit like this, please. Give me, waiter, more of this. Factory molds are a really cool item that lets you actually strategize with the items you have on hand. Kepley challenges are a really fun way to add mid-run curses and reward players for playing the game in a more risky way. The map design is really freeing. You can fall off almost any ledge and do some crazy jukes. Speed pads are a pretty cool upgrade, and you can they're cool for routing. Yeah, I like apples. Machine cooperation is neat. Why is this the only thing Quell came up with after a year of adding literally nothing? What the Shield health is Cool. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. Just cool mechanic. Yep. I don't think it's very controversial for me to say that Dandy likes are an artist genre. If you point at any Dandy like, what do you think was made first? That's right, it's usually the character designs. Dandy likes are usually less about making a game and more about showing off OCs or making money, because there are some that are definitely just made for the money. Cough, cough. Cough, 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 cough. Dolly's Factory doesn't do this. It's clear that decent gameplay is the focus. This should be the bare minimum. I really wish Dolly's Factory was the worst of what the genre could offer. But people care so little about gameplay that Dolly's Factory putting in a minuscule amount of effort is the peak of game design. Just because you can make a game does not mean you can make a fun game. Hire a game designer or learn yourself what makes a game fun. It's not that hard. Valve made like 5 different hour-long commentaries for their games on how to design something fun, not just addicting. I have to specify that because gacha games are not fun. You're just addicted to crap. This entire segment just exists because Toon Universe has 2 extraction stats. I need to get a life.
This is just a singular.
This is an oil fire! It's just an oil fire!
Why does the dollhouse have fucking oil inside it?
Oil fire. Oil fire. Wait, it hurts you! Oh my god, wait! That makes this game better than Danny's World, because Danny's World had that one, like, you remember that one Halloween map where there was just green goo? And then it did nothing? It just makes... They actually made an environmental hazard that's, like, on the side. And actually made...
What? Why do you think I was screaming? I was like, I got burnt by the fire. Factory?
That was really funny. Why did they just have shit like that? You can't just do that!